Welcome to another night of astrophotography at the Camping Astronomer channel, folks. Tonight I'm going to get out my Star Adventurer star tracker and just a DSLR camera and try and take a picture of the upper part of the Orion constellation, where I hope to get a nice picture of the bright orange star Betelgeuse along with a nebula in the other corner or top corner of Orion, which is called the Angelfish Nebula. At the moment it's cloudy, but that's forecast to pass over the next hour or so and the skies clear up. So I hope you'll come back and join me. My name's John and I make videos on camping, astronomy and walking. If you like what you see in this video, then please check my channel out, as there may be others that interest you there. But in the meantime, let's crack on with today's video. So this is the area we're going to be focusing on tonight. You can see at the bottom left is the orange star Betelgeuse, and to the right and up a bit is a little star cluster surrounded by some reddish nebulosity, and this is the Angelfish Nebula. So a little bit about tonight's targets then. Betelgeuse is a red giant star, easily visible as an orange star to the naked eye, and is 500 and something light years away. The Angelfish Nebula is a molecular cloud that's being energized or ionized by a little multiple star complex in its center, and the primary star in that little complex is a blue giant star. So we've got a red giant and a blue giant in the same photograph, and that little star complex and the Angelfish Nebula is about 1,100 light years away. You need a minimum of a 1 minute exposure in order to get the nebula. I'm going to try about 1.5 minutes. I'm going to be using a standard DSLR camera with an 85mm lens. The camera's not a great one, it suffers from noise at high ISOs, so I'm going to have to limit my ISO to probably 1600. I'll try 3200, but I think 1600. And I'm not likely to be able to do more than 1.5 minute exposures, because the whole target area is going to be moving towards an area of sky that's badly affected by a street lamp, and all I'll do is wash everything out with light pollution. So yeah, so we've got 1 minute to 1.5 minute exposures, ISO 1600 or 3200 on a Canon DSLR with an 85mm lens. I won't know whether I've got anything much until I've processed the pictures after the event tomorrow, but yeah, I'll bring you back a little bit later on when I'm set up outside. Up there is the moon, and the little dot above it is the planet Mars, and at the exact moment that I'm filming this, I've got a live feed on my phone because NASA are trying to land their latest rover, Explorer, on the planet's surface. That's the constellation Orion, which is tonight's target area. bizarre last night. I was looking up at this tiny little dot above the moon that was the planet Mars, and while I was doing that I was watching a live feed from NASA as they tried to land their latest rover on the surface of that planet, and I just found it mind-blowing that I was looking at this thing that was like millions and millions of miles away, and while I was looking at it, humans were trying to put a man-made object on the surface. So that kind of did my head in yesterday. And whilst all this was going on, I was taking photographs of the upper part of the constellation Orion, and specifically the red giant star Betelgeuse and a ring of nebula around a smallish star complex. Now the camera that I was using was a basic camera, and the lens was a basic lens. It's unbranded. I've got no idea who made it now. I probably bought it a few years ago, and yes, there's nothing special about it whatsoever. I took my shots at f2.5, which was one step down. I think it's a 1.8 lens, but by stopping it down I was hoping to reduce the chances of any artifacts. And the images that were coming off the camera with 1 minute exposures were in fact very, very washed out, and I toyed with reducing the exposure down to ISO 800 from the 1600 that I was using, but I was scared that I wouldn't get any nebulosity if I did that. So anyhow, I plodded on with my 60 odd exposures and stacked those pictures last night, and the stacked picture looked a lot better than any individual exposures. So I then took that into Photoshop and tried to drag up some of the detail, and for a long time I wasn't getting anywhere with detail. I was just bringing up the stars and I couldn't see any nebulosity or any gas or anything. But I just kept plodding on, gradually tweaking the curves, gradually tweaking the levels, and after a while, just as I thought I wasn't going to get anything, the nebulosity started to come out, as did brown clouds of dust. So I was really pleased with that. The nebula is nominally known as the Angelfish Nebula. Its other name is the Lambda Orionis ring, which more accurately describes what I got. My picture shows a ring of gas around this star cluster. I think had I taken longer exposures or more exposures, I might have got more of the gas come out and it might look more like an angelfish. But considering I was using a cheap camera and a cheap lens, I was really chuffed with the result. So we'll have a little look at that now. Here's the red giant star Betelgeuse, looking really, really colourful. And this is the other prominent star at the top of Orion, Bellatrix. Here's the small star cluster containing the blue giant star, which is energising the hydrogen gas around it. Here's the red nebula made up of hydrogen gas, and you can see that it looks more like a ring in my photograph than an angelfish. I just didn't have enough exposure time, I think, to make it look like a fish. But this bit here's the fish's eye, if you can make that look like a fish. And here's some of the brown dust in the picture that I was quite pleased to get. So now I'll leave you with an unannotated picture, and I'd like to thank you for watching if you've made it this far, and I shall see you next time. Cheerio.